Industrial Security Management. This lecture is owned by Captain Romeo A. Haban, Jr.
From the perspective of the Philippine Society for Industrial Security, PSIS, industrial security is the comprehensive practice by security management specialists of protecting an organization's people, property, information, and assets against internal and external threats. It applies proactive policies across diverse commercial and industrial sectors to prevent losses and ensure operational continuity.
Security is the state or condition of being safe or free from fear, harm, danger,
The core
loss,
concept of
destruction,
this
or
slide
damages.
is that unmitigated
There
risk
is a need for
destroys
adequate
value.
protection
When
because of
individuals
the
or
prevailing action of
organizations
man
operate
against
without
man
adequate
that leads
security,
to
they
unsecure or
enter a
unsafe
reactive
conditions
state of
due to
survival
economic
that
reasons,
actively drains
revenge,
their
or just
capacity
plain
to
greed.
perform. 1. The cost of exposure when an organization or individual is exposed to physical, digital, or operational hazards. The consequences extend far beyond the immediate damage. Cognitive drain, fear and uncertainty consume mental bandwidth, reducing creative problem solving. Resource diversion, time and money are wasted fixing preventable crises instead of driving growth. Operational friction, standard processes slow down or break entirely when disruptions occur. This will be your activity. Wait for further instructions from your instructor.
Industrial security. The term may mean A. Security measures applied to business industries, Manwong and Delizo 2006, or B. The business of providing security and protection to private individuals, business and enterprise or government and non-government industries. Industrial security management. It is the skillful handling of the security and safety measures of business enterprises and industrial establishments. Historical background of security in the Philippines. In the 1950s, the private security agencies' guards were under the supervision and control of the municipal and city mayors. Any civilian could be employed as a security guard without undergoing any training at all, especially in handling firearms. The only requirement then was a permit secured from the office of the city mayor where he was posted. In fact, even foreigners or any person, regardless of age or educational background, were allowed owning and operate a security agency. The Philippine Association of Detective and Protective Agency Operators, PADPAOO, was established way back 1958 with the aim of making itself as freely self-governing, self-regulating and self-policing. On June 13, 1969, RA 5487, otherwise known as Private Security Agency Law, was enacted. This provided that the Philippine Constabulary would be the sole authority to supervise all private security agencies, co-guard forces, government guard forces, and their security guards. Later, the control of government forces as transferred to the National Intelligence and Security Agency. Likewise, during the succeeding years, various presidential decrees were issued amending certain provisions of RA 54487. On August 4, 1969, the Philippine Constabulary issued staff memorandum organizing the PC Security and Investigations Supervisor Office, PCCSO, with the authorized strength of 8 officers and 8 enlisted personnel under the functional grouping of C3 Division, and it was later named as Constabulary Supervisory Office for Security and Investigations Agencies, CSOCIA. Pursuant to General Order No. 404 June 29, 1970, the office was designated as the PC Supervisory Unit Security and Investigation Agencies, PC SUSIA, and later as PC ENP SUSIA. With the creation of the Philippine National Police on January 1, 1991, PC SUSIA was again renamed as PNP Supervisory Office for Security and Investing Agency, PNP SOCIA. Charged with the mission to provide administrative services and general supervision over the organization, operation, business and activities of all operating private detective, watchmen, security guards agencies, and company guards forces, and all government guards throughout the country. At present, SOCIA operates under a new PNP Security Agency Guard Supervisory Division.
Passive measures are the static physical barriers, fences, walls, locks, safes, that sit in place waiting to delay an intruder. They do not actively move or respond on their own. Active measures are responsive or psychological measures that require action, human intervention, or operational steps, patrols, drills, education, investigations, or automated alarms that activate upon a trigger.
Security management in the Philippines is heavily strained by rapid digital transformation, acute talent shortages, and fragmented, legacy infrastructure across both corporate and public sectors. As one of the most heavily targeted nations for cyber attacks in Southeast Asia, the country faces critical challenges across cybersecurity, physical operations, and regulatory governance. In the industrial security setting, hazards are generally categorized into human, man-made hazards and natural hazards that threaten plant operations, assets, personnel, and business continuity. In the Philippines, industrial security hazards refer to any condition, action, or event that threatens the safety of an industrial facility's physical, human, information, or financial assets. According to the standard Philippine criminological and industrial security management frameworks, these hazards are broadly classified into two main categories: man-made, human, hazards, and natural hazards. A natural hazard is an act or condition caused by natural phenomena that disrupts normal operations, damages property, or threatens the safety of personnel and facilities. Key characteristics: external origin, caused strictly by environmental and physical earth-atmospheric forces, completely separate from human intent or technological failure. Operational impact, poses a direct risk to business continuity, physical assets, supply chains, and human life within a secured industrial plant or facility. Predictability, many natural hazards, such as seasonal typhoons or floods, allow for historical tracking and proactive security mitigation, whereas others, like sudden earthquakes, occur without warning. Common examples in industrial security: hydrological and meteorological, floods, flash floods, typhoons, hurricanes, lightning storms, and heavy blizzards. Geophysical, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and landslides or ground subsidence. Biological, environmental, wildfires spreading to industrial perimeters or severe weather-induced secondary impacts. A human hazard, often called a man-made or adversarial hazard, refers to a threat, danger, or loss originating from human action, intent, or negligence rather than natural phenomena. Key categories of human hazards: intentional adversarial acts, deliberate criminal or malicious actions meant to damage an organization, including sabotage, espionage, theft, pilferage, vandalism, subversion, and workplace violence. Accidental unintentional acts, breaches or losses caused by human error, carelessness, ignorance, fatigue, or failure to follow established safety and security protocols. Internal disloyalty, actions by disgruntled or compromised employees, insider threats, who abuse their access to leak proprietary information, steal assets, or compromise facility security. Security hazard: it is an act or condition affecting the safe operation of the facility caused by human action, accidental or intentional. It includes sabotage, espionage, pilferage and theft, disloyalty, disaffection, and subversive activity. 1. Human hazards, caused by person, whether intentional or accidental. 2. Natural hazards, those that are caused by natural phenomena that may cause damage, disturbance, fear, or problems to the humanity. This includes floods, typhoons, earthquakes, storms, volcanic eruption, tidal waves, tsunami, lightning, etc. 3 major divisions of security: 1. Physical security. This concern with the physical measures adopted to prevent unauthorized access to equipment, facilities, material, and document, and to safeguard them against espionage, sabotage, damage, loss, and theft. 2. Personnel security. This is as important as physical security. Personnel security starts even before the hiring of an employee and remains to be maintained for as long as the person is employed. Its purpose is to ensure that a firm hires those best suited to assist the company or firm in achieving its goals and objectives, and once hired, assist in providing necessary security to the workforce while carrying out their functions. 3. Document and information security. This involves the protection of documents and classified papers from loss, access by unauthorized persons, damages, theft, and compromise through disclosure. Classified documents need special handling. Lack of indoctrination and orientation among the personnel handling them can result in the leakage, loss, theft, and unauthorized disclosure of the documents.
Physical security, which is considered the foundational and broadest branch of security management. Here is a brief breakdown of its key components based on the text. Core objective. Physical measures, using tangible, concrete barriers and systems, not digital or procedural software alone, to safeguard assets. What it protects: equipment, machinery, servers, and hardware, facilities, buildings, warehouses, and compounds, materials, raw substances, inventory, and physical assets. Documents, sensitive files, blueprints, and records. Threats: it prevents unauthorized access, keeping out trespassers or restricted personnel. Espionage, guarding corporate or state secrets from spies. Sabotage, stopping intentional destruction of property or operations. Damage and theft, minimizing losses from vandalism, natural disasters, or stealing. The 9 Ds of physical security concepts outline the comprehensive functions and objectives of an integrated physical security system designed to protect an organization's assets. Here is a brief breakdown of each principle. Define, establish clear physical boundaries and legal jurisdictions for the property. Deny, completely block access to unauthorized individuals using physical barriers like locked vault doors. Delay, slow down intruders using measures like reinforced gates or security grills to buy time for response teams. Direct, guide authorized visitors, personnel, and vehicles along specific, safe pathways and entry points. Detect, identify unauthorized intrusions or threats early using tools like CCTV cameras and motion sensors. Detain, legally hold or restrict the movement of an apprehended intruder until law enforcement arrives. Deter, discourage criminal attempts through highly visible security measures like bright lighting and active guard patrols. Disseminate, communicate threat details, trigger alarms, and share incident data with security personnel and emergency responders. Defend, take active measures or use physical structures to protect assets and personnel during a direct attack.
This diagram illustrates the concentric circles of protection, a core concept in physical and industrial security management. It represents a defense in-depth strategy, where an adversary must breach multiple layers of security to reach the assets at the center.
The 7 core components that build a complete physical security system. These systems work together to satisfy the 9 Ds and circles of protection you reviewed earlier. Here is a brief breakdown of each component. 1. Perimeter barriers. The first line of defense, defining property lines and delaying intruders. For example, fences, walls, gates. 2. Protective lightings. Illumination that deters criminals at night and increases the visibility of the guard force. 3. Protective alarms. Electronic sensors that detect unauthorized entry, movement, or breaches and alert the team. 4. protective locks and key control, mechanical or digital locking devices and tracking systems to restrict unauthorized access to doors. 5. Protective cabinets, high-security storage units like safes and fireproof file cabinets that protect sensitive data or valuables. 6. Guard force and guard systems, the human element security guards, roving patrols, and K9 units tasked with responding to threats. 7. Personnel identification and movement control, systems used to verify identities and manage traffic, such as ID badges, biometrics, and visitor logs. What are barriers? A barrier is any obstacle, condition, or object that blocks passage, prevents progress, or makes it difficult to achieve a goal. Depending on the context, barriers can be physical objects or abstract, invisible hurdles. Security barriers are physical, structural, or natural obstacles designed to control access, deter unauthorized entry, and protect people property or assets. They function as a critical component of physical security by defining boundaries and creating a psychological and physical deterrent against potential threats. Core conceptual framework. The text outlines 3 core characteristics that define a perimeter barrier. Defining physical limits. It serves as a clear, unmistakable boundary line. This clearly separates public property from private or restricted facility zones. Restricting and impeding access. It creates physical and psychological resistance. This stops unauthorized entries or delays intruders long enough for security forces to respond. Supplementing layered protection. It acts as an adaptable layer of defense. These structures work together with electronic sensors, cameras, and guards to reinforce both inner and outer perimeters. Purpose of barriers. 1. Define the physical limits of an area. 2. Create a physical and psychological deterrent to unauthorized entry. 3. Prevent penetration therein or delay intrusion, thus facilitating apprehension of intruders. 4. Assist in more efficient and economical employment of guards. 5. Facilitate and improve the control of vehicular traffic. Types of physical barrier. 1. Natural barrier. Geographical features like rivers, cliffs, canyons, or any other terrain that is difficult to traverse. 2. Structural barrier. These are features constructed by man regardless of their original intent that tends to delay the intruders. Examples: fence, walls, grills, doors, roadblocks, screens, or any other construction that will serve as a deterrent to unauthorized entry.
Examples of natural barriers.
For your activity, in not less than 100 words, explain the illustration and how it is relevant in industrial security. Types of physical barrier. 1. Natural barrier. Geographical features like rivers, cliffs, canyons, or any other terrain that is difficult to traverse. 2. Structural barrier. These are features constructed by man regardless of their original intent that tends to delay the intruders. Examples: fence, walls, grills, doors, roadblocks, screens, or any other construction that will serve as a deterrent to unauthorized entry. This diagram provides a concrete visual example of the defense in-depth model by mapping specific physical security controls into concentric circles. The high-value asset sits at the center, represented by the star, and an intruder must breach multiple independent layers to reach it. The 4 security layers outlined. Layer 1, perimeter fence. First line of defense. The outermost boundary delays the intruder from entering the property grounds. Layer 2, exterior door. Second line of defense. The building envelope boundary stops or slows the intruder from entering the facility itself. Layer 3, office door. Third line of defense. Internal room partitioning isolates specific spaces or departments within the building to limit internal movement. Layer 4. Locked cabinet, core asset protection. The final physical barrier directly shields sensitive data, hard drives, or physical valuables at the point of storage.
Perimeter barriers serve as the first line of physical defense in industrial, residential, and facility security management. They outline boundaries, provide psychological deterrence, and delay unauthorized entry to give security teams time to respond. Types of fences. Fences generally fall into two primary functional categories based on visibility and access. Solid fences. These block 100% of visual access. They prevent outsiders from seeing assets, guards, or interior vulnerabilities. They are usually built out of wood, stone, brick, or corrugated metal. Full-view fences. These permit clear visual access through the boundary line. They allow security personnel or cameras to see approaching external threats before they reach the perimeter. Examples include ornamental iron fences, steel pickets, and chain-link mesh. Standard security specifications. To make full-view fences secure, industrial standards require specific builds. Chain-link fences must use 9-gauge wire or heavier. The openings in the mesh pattern must not exceed 2 inches per side to prevent easy climbing foot and hand holds. Fence height. Standard security fences are usually at least 7 feet tall, excluding any security extensions or overhangs added to the top.
Solid fence. Full view fence. Chain link fence. Barbed wire fence. Concertina wire fence.
These three additional protective measures upgrade physical perimeter security from a simple passive boundary into an active, monitored containment system. 1. Top guards, climbing deterrent, physical design. An outrigger support arm extended at a 45-degree angle facing upward and outward from the fence top. Specifications. Typically strings 3 to 4 strands of barbed wire tightly spaced 6 inches apart, adding roughly 1 to 2 feet of height. Function. Significantly increases the time required to climb over a fence and forces an intruder backward into an awkward, vulnerable position. 2. Guard control stations, access management. Location. Strategically placed right at the main perimeter entry and exit choke points. Personnel unit. Serves as the primary outdoor hub for security officers to verify credentials, log visitors, and inspect vehicles. Control hub. Operates as a checkpoint to isolate unauthorized individuals before they can gain physical entry to core facility buildings. 3. Guard towers. Elevated surveillance, structural design. Elevated, house-like observation platforms constructed high above the standard perimeter line. Visual edge. Grants security personnel an unobstructed, 360-degree line of sight over both interior zones and exterior clear zones. Tactical advantage. Provides elevated early warning capabilities, acts as a psychological deterrent to intruders, and protects guards from ground-level threats. These three protective measures focus on administrative controls, layered security strategies, and legal boundaries to ensure the perimeter remains effective. Barrier maintenance, operational reliability. Regular inspections. Physical barriers slowly degrade over time due to weather, rust, soil erosion, and intentional tampering. Security forces must conduct routine scheduled patrols to check for vulnerabilities. Target vulnerabilities. Guards actively look for structural weak points, such as holes cut mesh wire, washed-out soil underneath fence lines, burrowing risks, overgrown vegetation blinding camera views, or broken top guards, security. Function. Constant maintenance ensures that a barrier always retains its physical integrity and continues to provide its rated delay time against intruders. Protection in depth, layered defense. Conspicuous signage. In massive open territories like farmlands, deserts, or dense forests, building miles of physical fencing is logentially impossible and financially restrictive. Instead, highly visible warning signs are deployed. Layered concept. This measure acts as the outermost administrative layer of a defense-in-depth model. It gives honest individuals fair warning while forcing malicious intruders to cross a clear psychological line. Tactical purpose. It delays and funnels potential threats towards specific managed access points, allowing security teams to focus resources on localized, high-value zones rather than a massive open boundary. Signs and notices control signs. Legal and safety barriers access control. Signs explicitly reading restricted area, no trespassing, or authorized personnel only clearly control unauthorized entry, ingress. Accidental entry prevention. They serve as clear visual warnings that protect innocent citizens, hikers, or contractors from accidentally wandering into hazardous industrial sites, high-voltage zones, or classified military properties. Legal enforcement. From a law enforcement standpoint, clear control signs remove the excuse of ignorance. They provide the necessary legal foundation required to arrest and prosecute an intruder for criminal trespassing. In physical security and industrial security management, an animal barrier refers to animals that are utilized as a component of a larger guarding and early warning system. Along with natural, structural, human, and energy barriers, animal barriers represent one of the 5 primary classifications of physical security barriers. They are primarily chosen for their heightened biological senses, which far exceed human capabilities. Now, for your activity, what can you say about this? This will be included as one of your activity. Stand by for your instructor's instructions. Protective lighting acts as an active, cost-effective security measure that eliminates the cover of darkness, extending daylight level visibility into nighttime operations. 1. Core functions of protective lighting. Illumination. Brightens dark zones so security guards and CCTV cameras can clearly see, track, and identify individuals. Deterrence. Creates a psychological barrier because thieves, intruders, and vandals prefer operating under the cover of shadows. System integration. Works directly alongside fences and cameras to ensure motion detection software and guard patrols function effectively 24/7. Purposes of security lighting. 1. It improves visibility so that intruders can be seen, identified, and apprehend. 2. It gives psychological fear, which serves as a deterrent to thieves, pilferers, trespassers, and sabotage. 3. It makes easier the routine of work of guards in identifying employees, vehicles during night time. 4. If placed in certain areas, may even reduce the number of stationary guards, and instead may require only roving patrols at night. Protective alarms transition a facility's security posture from passive containment to active, real-time response by bridging the gap between detection and intervention. 1. Complementing and supplementing physical security. Force multiplier. Physical barriers like fences, walls, and locked doors only delay an intruder. Alarms ensure that a breach does not go unnoticed, turning passive structures into an integrated defensive system. Cost efficiency. Deploying electronic sensors allows a facility to protect massive zones or complex indoor areas 24/7 without needing a human guard physically standing at every corner. 2. Detection of attempted vs. consummated intrusion. Attempted intrusion, early warning. Outermost sensors detect a threat actor before they enter the building. Examples include fence line vibration sensors or outdoor photoelectric beams that trigger an alarm while the intruder is still on the perimeter. Consummated intrusion, interior breach. Interior sensors catch intruders after they successfully penetrate the shell. The image demonstrates this via an indoor volumetric sensor, like a passive infrared or microwave detector, tracking a person moving inside a restricted room. 3. Core sensor type is used in protective alarms. To detect these intrusions effectively, systems rely on 3 primary technological categories. Perimeter sensors, magnetic contact switches on doors, windows, glass break detectors, and fiber optic fence sensors. Interior volumetric sensors, motion detectors using infrared light, heat tracking, ultrasonic waves, or microwave frequencies to map changes in a room's volume. Object sensors, pressure pads, proximity capacitance sensors, or vibration monitors attached directly to high-value assets like safes, server racks, or filing cabinets. Every standard electronic protective alarm system relies on 3 interconnected core components to function effectively. 1. Sensor, the input device. Purpose: acts as the system's eyes and ears. Function: detects physical changes in the environment. Action: converts a physical event into electrical signals. Examples: door contacts, motion sensors, and glass break detectors. 2. Control panel, the processor. Purpose: serves as the central command hub. Function: receives data inputs from all sensors. Action: decides if a signal warrants an emergency response. Features: houses the backup battery and system programming. 3. Annunciator, the output device. Purpose: acts as the system's public voice. Function: alerts humans to a confirmed security breach, local signals. Activates high-decibel sirens and flashing strobe lights. Remote signals, transmits silent digital alerts to security teams. Kinds of alarms. 1. Audio detection device, detects sound caused by attempted force entry. 2. Vibration detection device, detect any vibration. 3. Metallic foil or wire, it will detect any action that moves the foil or wire. 4. Laser beam alarms, a laser emitter floods a wall or fencing with a beam. If the beam is disturbed, an alarm is activated. 5. Photoelectric or electric dye device, an invisible visible beam is emitted. Protective locks and key control act as the primary mechanical and administrative gatekeepers of an asset protection strategy, securing doors, equipment, and restricted zones. The role of protective locks, mechanical barrier. Delay mechanism. Like fences, mechanical locks do not provide permanent security. Their primary purpose is to delay forced or surreptitious entry long enough for security forces to respond. Point of entry security. They secure critical physical access points, including exterior doors, server cabinets, high-value storage lockers, and perimeter gates. This is seen with the chain padlocks in the image. 4 primary lock types. Mechanical padlocks, portable, detachable locks used with chains or hasps. Cylindrical M-Mortise locks, core door hardware, with mortise locks offering heavy-duty resistance against brute force tools. Combination locks, keyless mechanical wheel locks used for high-security safes and vaults. Electronic and biometric locks, digital systems using RFID cards, pins, or fingerprints that log entries and allow instant credential deletion. In industrial security, a facility's keying system is organized into a hierarchical tier called a master key system. It limits employee access strictly to their required work areas. Change key, lowest level. opens only one specific lock or a small group of exactly identical locks, for example, a single office door. Submaster key opens all locks within a specific department, section, or building floor. Master key opens all locks across an entire department, series of buildings, or defined zone. Grandmaster key opens every single lock within an entire facility, factory, or corporate campus. Great Grandmaster key, highest level, opens absolutely all locks across multiple distinct facilities or separate geographic company sites. In physical security management, a human barrier refers to the personnel deployed to protect an asset, enforce rules, and respond to breaches. Along with natural, structural, animal, and energy barriers, humans represent one of the 5 primary classifications of physical security barriers. Unlike mechanical or electronic systems, humans provide dynamic adaptation, meaning they can evaluate complex situations, make legal decisions, and alter their tactics in real time. Roles, functions, and responsibilities of a security guard. Guard forces and guard systems represent the operational execution of a human barrier, organizing personnel into structured units to protect a facility. 1. Types of guard forces, as seen in the images. Specialized response teams, left. High-security tactical teams equipped with advanced transportation, helicopters, patrol cruisers, and specialized gear to handle high-risk threats, active shooters, or critical breaches. Apprehension and enforcement, center. The legal and physical authority of a guard force to physically detain, arrest, or remove non-compliant individuals who trespass or violate facility rules. Standard static patrol personnel, right. Regular uniformed security officers who act as highly visible deterrents, conduct routine checks, monitor entry gates, and handle everyday facility surveillance. A security guard is a trained professional hired by an organization or private individual to protect physical assets, property, people, and proprietary information from theft, damage, or unauthorized access. They serve as the frontline operational unit of a human barrier and are legally bound to enforce the rules and regulations of their assigned property. A guard force is an organized group of security guards, supervisors, and support personnel who operate collectively as a security defensive unit to protect an entire organization or facility. They while handle a single security guard licensing as an individual and point deployment of security personnel for represents the complete company security system, including its hierarchy, communication networks, patrol schedules, security departments, and tactical deployment strategies. The guards are direct employees of the private corporation they protect, rather than outside contractors. Government Security Unit, GSU. These are proprietary security teams managed by government offices or state corporations. Crucially, they are legally distinct from institutional armed services like the military, AFP, or police, PMP. Operational breakdown. Fixed post focuses on static surveillance. Guards remain at a single designated location, such as a guardhouse gate or reception desk, to control entry and monitor a specific visual field. Patrol, roving, focuses on mobile deterrence. Guards move along changing or scheduled routes across the property to detect vulnerabilities, check lock points, and prevent blind spots. Roles of security guard. 1. Protection of people, properties, and premises. 2. Static guarding. 3. Patrolling. 4. Access control. 5. Searching. The functions of security guard. There are several functions and expectations placed on security guard by both the client and the company. However, it is important to remember the core functions of a security guard, regardless of the specific duties assigned. Core functions of a security guard. 1. Basic security. 2. Gatekeeper reception desk. 3. Patrolling. 4. Fire prevention. 5. Accident prevention. 6. First aid. 7. Cash or valuable escort. 8. Alarm and surveillance. 9. Visitor and contractor escorts. 10. Simple access control. Security personnel cannot just wear any color. The shirt colors visually identify their organizational category. Light blue and/or white, assigned to private security agencies, PSA. These are the standard commercial contract guards you see at malls, banks, and private establishments. Light gray, reserved for company security forces, CSF. These are in-house security teams employed directly by a private company rather than hired through an external agency. White, designated for government security units, GSU. These guards protect government properties, public offices, and state facilities. Interrelationship between security personnel and members of the PNP. 1. Private security personnel are always subordinate to members of the PMP on matters pertaining to law enforcement and crime prevention. They cannot enforce any provision of the law except in executing citizens' arrest and/or conducting initial investigation of a commission of a crime. In such case, any arrested person shall be turned over immediately to the nearest PMP unit station. 2. Criminal investigation is the responsibility of the PMP. All results of initial investigation conducted by the private security personnel and all evidence gathered by them shall be turned over to the PNP unit station concerned as a matter of course without delay. Core concepts of communication security. Interception prevention. The core goal is to stop the enemy or unauthorized persons from intercepting information as it moves across networks. Defense in depth. The definition uses the phrase prevent or delay, acknowledging that while perfect prevention is the goal, delaying attackers gives security teams time to respond. Military government tone. The specific use of the word enemy indicates that this slide is likely derived from military, defense, or high-level government cybersecurity frameworks, such traditional ComSec definitions. Core concepts of transmission security functional focus. TransSec focuses entirely on protecting the communication signals and channels themselves rather than the information content, which is covered by encryption cryptosecurity. Threat mitigation. It targets specific wireless or wired threat vectors interception, stopping an adversary from picking up your signals. Traffic analysis. Preventing adversaries from tracking communication patterns, volumes, or locations, even if they cannot read the encrypted content. Core concepts of cryptographic security. Functional focus. While TransSec protects the communication channels, cryptographic security protects the actual meaning of the data by encoding it. Dual requirement. The definition correctly highlights that true cryptographic safety requires two things. 1. Technically sound systems, strong, uncrackable math algorithms and keys. 2. Proper use, human compliance and operational security, avoiding weak passwords or key leakage. This is for your next activity. Kindly wait for your instructor's instruction. Communications security. Is the protection resulting from the application of various measures which prevent or delay the enemy or unauthorized persons in gaining information through the communication system. This includes 1. Transmission security. 2. Cryptographic security. 3. Physical security. Core concepts of document security. Physical focus. The definition emphasizes physical security measures rather than digital cybersecurity. Asset protection. It targets documents and classified papers meaning tangible media like prints, blueprints, or physical records. Threat mitigation. It outlines 4 distinct risks to manage: loss, misplacement or accidental destruction; access, viewage or retrieval by unauthorized individuals; damage, theft, physical harm, fire, water, or criminal removal; compromise, the leak of sensitive information; document and information security. Security involving the protection of documents and information from loss, access by unauthorized persons, prescribes the policies and establishes the standard basic procedures governing the classification and security of official matter. Storage. 1. Safe, a metallic container used for safekeeping of documents or small items in office or installation. 2. Vault, a heavily constructed fire and burglar-resistant container, usually part of the building structure used to keep and protect cash, documents, and negotiable instruments. 3. File room, a cubicle in a building constructed a little lighter than a vault, but of bigger size to accommodate limited people to work on the records inside. Core concepts of protective containers. The inner layer. In the Defense in-Depth framework, containers represent the final line of physical protection after an intruder has bypassed perimeter fences and building doors. Target assets. They are specifically deployed to secure physical items that are highly vulnerable to theft or destruction, including physical cash, financial bonds, precious metals, intellectual property plans, and critical records. Scalability. The slide notes that an organization's choice of container size and quantity is dictated entirely by its specific operational scale and asset volume. Core concepts of an industrial safe. Primary function. It acts as a localized metallic container engineered to preserve small, high-value items and essential documents. Weight requirement. To prevent thieves from simply wheeling or carrying the safe away to crack it elsewhere, standard industrial security metrics mandate a minimum weight of 750 lbs. Structural integration. If a safe does not meet the 750 lbs threshold naturally, it must be anchored directly to the building's infrastructure, concrete floors or structural columns. Material thickness. The body must be constructed with at least 1-inch thick steel to withstand aggressive physical breaches like drilling, peeling, or cutting torches. Core concepts of an industrial vault. Structural integration. Unlike a safe, which is a standalone unit, a vault is a permanent, walk-in room integrated directly into the building structure. Massive dimensions. It is significantly larger than a safe and built to protect high volumes of currency, bullion, or vital records. Door. Thickness. The door must be constructed of solid steel, at least 6 inches thick to withstand heavy mechanical breaches. Enclosure thickness. The surrounding walls, ceiling, and floor must be composed of reinforced concrete, at least 12 inches thick. Fire endurance. It must possess a fire resistance rating of up to 6 hours to survive prolonged structural infernos. Core concepts of a file room. Lighter construction, unlike a vault, which requires massive 12-inch reinforced concrete walls. A file room uses lighter structural materials. It trades high burglary resistance for high-volume storage capacity. Dimensional ceiling. Standard security metrics limit the maximum height to 12 feet to maintain structural integrity, control fire suppression zones, and prevent stacking accidents. Watertight integrity. Paper documents are highly vulnerable to water damage from overhead sprinkler systems or localized flooding. A watertight door prevents water from leaking into the storage tracks. Fire tolerance. It must feature a fire rating of at least 1 hour, which is the baseline standard to ensure documents can survive a localized building fire until emergency responders arrive. Personal security. Personal Security Investigation, PSI. It is an inquiry into the character, reputation, discretion, integrity, morals, and loyalty of an individual in order to determine a person's suitability for appointment or access to classified matter. Bakgrundinvestigation, BI. It is an inquiry which aims to verify applicants' information written at the applicant's form, to ascertain his/her past employment experiences, and to obtain other information pertinent to the decision to employ. Personnel security is the branch of industrial security concerned with a system of policies and procedures designed to ensure that an organization's employees, contractors, and visitors are trustworthy, reliable, and do not pose a security risk. While physical security focuses on protecting structures and assets, personnel security recognizes the human element is both an organization's strongest defense and its most volatile vulnerability, such as insider threats or careless negligence. Hotel security is a specialized branch of asset protection and hospitality management designed to safeguard guests, employees' physical property, and the brand reputation of a lodging facility. Unlike industrial security, which focuses heavily on keeping people out, hotel security must balance robust protective measures with an open, welcoming environment for paying guests. It operates as a complex hybrid of physical security, personnel management, and guest safety protocols. Core concepts of bank security. Triple protection. It simultaneously protects three distinct pillars: bank assets, cash bullion, bank personnel, tellers, managers, and day-to-day operations. 3 life cycle phases. It emphasizes safeguarding wealth across 3 critical operational stages. In storage, utilizing the safes, vaults, and file rooms discussed in previous slides. In transit, managing armored car movements and cash in transit, CIT, protocols. During transaction, protecting face-to-face exchanges at the teller counters or ATMs. This slide introduces personal security, which focuses on shielding individuals rather than physical properties or documents. Personnel security. The procedures used to ensure employees are trustworthy, for example, background checks, clearances. Personal security. An individual's private habits to keep themselves safe, for example, locking one's own car door. VIP executive protection, the specialized branch dedicated to physically defending high-ranking officials, executives, and dignitaries from targeted harm, kidnapping, or assassination. Air cargo security insights. Risk management reality. Because air logistics operate at an extreme speed and volume, a key goal is reducing cargo pilferage, damage, and logistics loss to a baseline minimum. 3 vulnerability phases. It properly identifies the entire cargo life cycle where security must be sustained. In transit, while the aircraft is airborne or on the tarmac. Storage, while resting inside holding warehouses or customs zones. Transfer, during high-risk shifting periods between handling trucks, forklifts, and baggage holds. School security insights reactive nature. The definition positions modern school security as a direct response to rising social threats, focusing on physical violence, trespassing, active threats rather than just simple property vandalism. Triple target protection, like bank security, it aims to shield 3 vital components: the students, the faculty personnel, and the physical institutional property. Supermarket security insights. Retail context. The slide attributes the rise of this field to the mushrooming, rapid growth of massive commercial retail spaces like supermalls and marts. Operational intent. In practice, this specialized sector deals heavily with loss prevention, stopping shoplifting, internal employee theft, and inventory shrinkage, alongside crowd management. Personnel security insights. The correction. Unlike the earlier slide that mixed up personal and personnel, this definition is concept accurate. It correctly identifies the core function, vetting individuals to make sure they are trustworthy enough for their specific job roles. Proportional vetting. The slide uses the excellent phrase, commensurate with the security requirements of their work. This means a janitor requires a basic background clearance, whereas an executive or system administrator with access to critical vaults requires deep financial and criminal background vetting.
Thank you for listening, class.